From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by
Vitamin Energy.
The vitamins.
The energy.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. Coming up on today's show, sounds like a lot of these freshmen are fast-tracked. Is that a good thing? Mailbag show. A lot of people concerned about the defense, so we have to entertain that thought possibly. And we're generating discussion sparked by Cummins. Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. VitaminEnergy.com. Shake it and take it, everybody. One little bottle. 2 ounces. Not even 2 ounces. I lied. What I'm not lying about is the fact that it's going to give you energy because there's 260 milligrams of all-natural caffeine, no sugar crash. It's synergistically formulated to work faster and longer, nourishes your body with those vitamins and nutrients to get your focus right, get your mind right, your mood improved, your immune response, all the things you need in one little bottle. Take it anywhere you got to go. Shake it and take it. Sip the juice. VitaminEnergy.com. Noles behind the operation. Warchant.com. Our operation. Myself and Corey Clark. Come subscribe. Profit off all the knowledge, the camaraderie, all the good things. When you're part of the community, that is Warchant.com, the largest, most vibrant message board community in all of Florida State sports. A lot of it's because of the awesome content from guys like Ira Schofel and Corey Clark. Aforementioned Corey Clark does this show, as you all know. What's up, Corey Clark?
What's up, Aslan?
Good. I'm good. I'm doing good. Not a lot is up. Actually, there's a lot. I'm going to, at some point, when we're basking in that lull between the ACC championship game and the first playoff game that we're in, everybody asked me, Aslan, what was going on late July up until kickoff in your life? It'll be funny. It's all uplifting. It's good stuff. Not going to get into it now. But what was that stuff you're talking about? And then it'll fill at least a good pint or two of beer, or at least 10 minutes of airtime whenever somebody brings it up on the podcast, perhaps when they ask us a question in the mailbag,
right?
Perhaps, Corey, because this is the mailbag show. We've got a lot of questions. Let's not fuss around. This is kind of part of what was said on Tuesday, Corey. A lot of stuff was based on the young guys. We spoke to David Johnson. Then we got Usman Croma. We also then got Javen Boggs. So young guys at the forefront of everybody's mind. Our guy Mucknoll said, good morning, gentlemen. Over under on the number of true freshmen that play from scrimmage in the first half against Alabama. 5.5. Probably go under on that, Corey. That's a big number. 1/2, first half against Bama. But I like that energy. I also like this question from FSU Man 5030. Wake up. Is this Mike's best recruiting class? Sounds like they hit on Croma, Sperry, Boggs, the Desir twins, Wynn, Arnaud. Or is a new coaching staff just going to be more willing to play freshmen? It would be great to finally see some high school recruits out there. I like this question so much, Corey. We usually don't do it this way, but man, let's just get right to it. It was the headline news of the day. It is the best question, I think, in the mailbag that will be spurring and generating discussion. So let's get the cameras on. And Corey, if you could just give us some energy, some power, portable power.
And then push the button.
It's generating discussion. It's sparked by Cummins. Give them a follow on their Instagram page. It's all just one word, Cummins Lifestyle. Our guy FSU Man 5030 will be entered into a monthly drawing for a gift bag from Cummins. And then obviously the end of year drawing for the portable generator, portable power station. Maybe we'll throw Mucknoll in there at the end of it just for kind of having a tangentially related question, Corey. So I don't know if you have thoughts on the over-under number of 5.5, or maybe we should pick it up from FSU Man 5030 and start thinking about, I know it's early, obviously. They haven't played it down, but man, there's a lot of good energy around this freshman class. And a lot of it, I think, was because we spoke to Croma. We spoke to Boggs the other day, and as well as David Johnson, what he had to say about Croma.
Yeah, well, to answer that other question real quick, I'm with you. I think it's the under. I think that I know for certain if they're healthy, Croma and Boggs are playing. After that, I think Kevin Wynn is going to play. The Desir twins maybe, but those are maybes. Croma and Boggs are definites. I don't know that there's 4 more definites after that, especially in the first half of that game. As for this question, look, I'm not trying to pile on, my man, but what is his best recruiting class? It ain't like he's been crushing it.
That's the point.
Yeah, so, but also we haven't seen any of these kids play a college football game. It sounds like he's going to have more instant impact this class than he's had with any other class besides 2020, and that doesn't really count because they were forced into action. So, it's trending that way. I believe in, obviously, Boggs and Chroma, I think, are the standouts so far. They're the ones that are talked about the most, and the Desir twins. But we'll see what that actually looks like in games. But, yes, it definitely seems to be like when you're already when coaches and teammates, not just coaches, but teammates, already talking this much about true freshmen, whatever it is, 2 weeks into their careers, it bodes well that they're going to be contributors, starters, maybe stars. But it's not like they put together a lot of starters out of their recruiting class in the last 6 years. So the fact that you're getting viable starters, perhaps quickly, bodes very well. So I would say, the jury is still out, obviously, as Aslan goes through this 2024 class. Like Danzy, Amari Williams, Charles Lester, their stories aren't written, so we don't know where they're going to end up being. So it's hard to say for sure this one trumps that one. It would seem like this one has a little bit more high-caliber star power, at least at the skill positions.
Yeah, I think if you go back and listen to Norvell's press conference in December of 2024, or 2023, December 2023, when he was talking about his early signing class, that was the 2024 signing class. He had really effusive praise. I think he might even said along the lines of this might be the best class, or just this is a class that I feel most confident about making an instant impact. So that's kind of the barometer if you want to use something. But those guys, nobody ever really made it onto the field. I would be shocked at this point if all those guys on the screen don't get into games of significant import. We'll still about the Desir twins. I believe in Wynn. I believe in Arnaud. I believe in Boggs, obviously. Chroma, Sperry. I don't want to see Kevin Sperry in a game. I don't think anybody really wants to see. Although maybe no, I take it back. East Texas A&M. Let's be up 52-3 in the third quarter and let him eat for a little bit, I guess. But I can't remember. And this is crazy, right, Corey? We were at practice last year, and the 6 previous years or whatever, the 4 previous seasons under Mike Norvell. I don't really know how many times we thought true freshmen, that guy's got a real chance. I think like Vandravius Jacobs, we like Lewayne McCoy to a certain degree. But like with what we heard from David Johnson about Chroma, what is it? He's different.
Yeah.
Talked about his level of competitiveness. I don't know if I ever felt that way about any other true freshman I saw at a practice in the last several years. So I'm going to go ahead and be prisoner of the moment and say yes.
We'll see. I mean, you'd also like some depth in this class. You don't want just 2 star. You don't want it to be like the 2003 Florida State recruiting class when it was like Ernie Sims and Antonio Cromartie, and then a bunch of not really good. You need some depth, and you need some more starters besides 2 big time players. But you hope Sperry works out. You think the Desir twins are going to play at some point in their careers and be contributors. The way they're talked about 2 weeks into their college careers, they're going to play on this defense at some point in their careers, and they're probably going to be impact players. Kevin Wynn, I think, was going to be an impact player. That when they talk about Arnaud, you feel like he's going to be an impact player, probably earlier than later. But I still think it's too early to say they hit on these guys. We just don't know. It sounds great, but I mean, we're in the middle of August. Let's see what we're saying in the middle of October or in the middle of October of 2026 before we know if they hit on them. I think it's too. Charles Lester, did they hit on him? Kai Bates? But I'm saying, we don't know that. He's a redshirt freshman. And just because he's not maybe going to start as a redshirt freshman, that doesn't mean that he can't be a solid to good starter as a redshirt sophomore. And then I would say you hit on him. It's just a little too early to know right now. But when it comes to Bog, what you said about Vandravius and who else did you mention?
Lewayne McCoy.
Well, they had snippets, right? They had a couple of stretches of like a week or 3 straight practices where it was like, wow, Vandravius, wow, that's different. That's a quick kid. He should be able to play. And then the same thing with McCoy. But McCoy's always hurt. And Vandravius did not carry that over into the fall. He looked like a really good player in the spring, but by the fall, I thought Hakeem had caught up with him. With this kid, Boggs, he has kind of been the talk of the offense from the start of spring practice until right now in the middle of August. This is not necessarily just a 1-week wonder. This kid is going to play and going to play a lot. He he is on a different level than those guys. He doesn't just flash like he's good. He is good. And he might end up being incredible by the time he's done.
Really impressed with Croma, too. I almost want to say I feel like he's Jameis if you gave Jameis maybe like half a bar of Xanax. It's a little bit more laid back, but there's like that beaming smile, that confidence, that sort of boyish energy, just like the fun about football, how much he loves it, how excited he is to play against Alabama. I like how he kept saying what he was saying, like not truthfully, but his word he was using to be
I'm going to be real. I'm going to keep it real. I'm going to be real. Yeah.
No, it was realistic. He's I'll be realistic with you all. I think is what he kept saying. It was very endearing, I thought. So really good energy from him. And just to hear the way, listen, again, the written word is an awesome thing. I'm a video guy, but there's times where I'd rather read an Ira or Corey story to get to the gist of something. Like go listen to the David Johnson interview. Go look at the way his eyes are when he's asked about Usman Croma. It is different the way he reacted to it. So I've got really high expectations for him, and I'm a little bit disappointed myself for putting him so low in my preseason top 40, but I didn't want to put too much pressure on you, Usman. So you're welcome.
You know what's cool? When you're doing this as long as I've been doing it, and you too, but you're not as old as I am, like you can kind of read body language or just the way a persona, and you can kind of tell right away there is a quiet confidence that is deserved in this young man when he's talking to us. Javon Boggs and Croma especially, but both of them talk as if they're 7-year NFL vets. They are not surprised by this. This is right where they expected to be. This is what they expected to be doing. They are not overwhelmed by the moment. They are not like shy in front of microphones. They are comfortable in who they are, and they're comfortable with how good they are. And those kind of guys you can. Timmy Jernigan was that way. Obviously, Jameis was that way. Rashad was that way. He was quiet, but he was very, very confident in who he was. In Jalen, clearly. So it's although we didn't get to talk to him as a freshman, which is whatever. But anyway, that would have been. Why would we want to talk to Jalen Ramsey? That wouldn't have been fun. But Derwin, guys like that, like you can tell. And I'm not saying that these guys are going to be NFL All Pros, maybe Hall of Famers. But the really good ones have this quiet. It's not even quiet. It's just an air of confidence that they belong. This is what they do. Usman Croma and Javon Boggs, I don't know how good they're going to be as freshmen. I know they think they're going to be really good, and I know their teammates and coaches think they're going to be really good. And usually that means they are going to be good. There is a self-belief and a confidence in just how they carry themselves. Watch those interviews. Aslan's right. Like Croma, if you just look at the written quotes, it's like, yeah, that doesn't seem like real charisma. But go watch the way he talks, and just go watch the way Boggs talks, and you'll see what I'm saying. They have those guys might be the truth. They might be the real deal. In fact, at this point, I'd be surprised if both of them aren't all-American type caliber players by the time their college careers are done.
The real deal, Cummins, their portable power, the own and line of products. Give it a gander. Check out all the cool things you can do in your off time, your recreational time. When you've got portable power in your hands, in your RV, in your vehicle, give it a follow over on Instagram. Cummins Lifestyle, all one word. Also, check out their stock. They're almost there. They're near $400 a share, everybody.
Let's go, Cummins. Let's go.
Who else is out there who wants to get part of this gravy train? Next question, Jimbo11. I wanted to get to this kind of question on yesterday's show, Corey, so we'll take a little bit of a divergent path to this. There's also kind of about Alabama. We got an Alabama question or two. But Jimbo11 says, wake up, Warchant. How are the field goal kicker and punter doing? Specifics on field goals, please. Before we get to that, I guess, Greg McElroy, former Alabama quarterback, now on ESPN, other outlets, media, things of that nature, I think was at the Alabama scrimmage over the weekend and shared his takeaways and thought the offense looked really good, didn't turn the ball over. But I think he said his concern was special teams, the kicker and the punter. They're in every bit as dire straits, if you want to use that sort of term to describe what Florida State's having to go through, losing Alex Mastermano and Ryan Fitzgerald. They're breaking in new punter. I think one of them was injured. One was a true freshman. Their kicker's only done maybe a few extra points. So they're kind of maybe going through some of this same kind of pain. I don't know if we have any specifics on this, but we did hear about kick returners right? BJ Gibson returning punts, Jalen Lucas returning punts, Deuce Robinson returning punts. It's crazy. Take the conversation however you want to go, Core, when it comes to special teams, I suppose.
I'll say this, man. Like, I'm all for Deuce Robinson getting as many balls thrown his way as possible. I cringed a little when I heard that he was catching punts on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Not because he's not good at it. He might be good at it. He might be able to catch punts. He'd also set the record for the tallest punt returner in football history. But that, to me, means they still haven't found anyone. Like, why are you trying out a punt returner who's never done it in the middle of August? Like, what is with this program and not finding capable, competent punt returners where they have to go to their number one receiver each time to do it? Like, Keon was good at it, really good, but he was confident catching. Are you telling me there's nobody else on this team that's confident catching punts but Deuce? And if he is, I guess go do it, but golly, man. He doesn't – as much as I like Deuce as a wide receiver, I feel like it's a different skill set to make big plays as a punt returner. But then again, Keon did. So almost had a touchdown against Miami, right, on a punt return. He did score on that later on that drive, but he returned one down to the 5. So I mean, I guess go for it. It certainly bodes well that Deuce is the kind of athlete we think he is. If a Division I program is putting him at 6'6" as a punt returner, but I'm not real fired up that they're feeling like they had to try him. So BJ, Jalen Lucas, and Deuce Robinson were the 3 that David Johnson mentioned. I don't think he mentioned kick return. But as for field goals, look, man, we don't watch practice, so we don't know. I do know that scrimmage-wise, he missed Weinberg missed 2, it sounded like. Right? I think that's what Norvell said, that he had a good I think he was asked this was the first scrimmage.
Okay.
So we didn't even ask about the second scrimmage. I think we get Norvell later today. We should ask, actually.
Absolutely.
Because it's important. Like, you lost 2 of the best in America. You might have lost the best combo, kicker-punter combination in America, duo in America, and you replace them with 2 guys that have never done it when it matters. So that's a big question mark. And if you're in a lot of close games, which everybody is these days, and Florida State certainly figures to be, that kind of stuff matters. It could be the difference between a win and a loss, in a good season and a bad season. Could be 2 kicks. So, yeah, we don't know how Weinberg's doing. We know he has an enormous leg. He has a huge leg. So does Chimento at punter. But how consistent has he been? That's the key, really, to both of them. And I don't care that Weinberg can kick a 70-yarder if he can't kick 38-yarders consistently. Yeah. So hopefully he can do both.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable totally with the situation, but I'm heartened by the fact that I think Alabama's in the same boat. So I don't really know. I think in most years you want to be that team that's lining up for a 38-yard field goal to win the game. But I think maybe on August 30th, I'd rather be the team in the lead trying to hope that guy misses the field goal. But Jim, we'll try to figure it out. We'll try to get you some answers here later today. So thanks for the question.
But it's a fair question. It's a really pivotal part. And I'm not even worried so much about Alabama, although I am, right? That's the first one. If you don't have a good kicker this year and a good punter, I mean, that's a lot of points that are out there that switches field position. Like, that's a big part of the dynamic of this football team. Like, that's what makes 2-10 so maddening is you were 2-10 with those guys. You didn't even get to utilize the fact that you had a really strong special teams. Hopefully this year you'll be close enough, your offense will be good enough that if they get inside the opponent's 35, okay, you got some points on the board. Last year they could never get inside the opponent's 35, so it never mattered. Or they were trailing by too much that they went for it on 4th downs.
Speaking of Alabama, we had this from our guy, Dizzy Diz. Hey, Aslan, always love listening to the pod, but Alabama did try to go get a quarterback in the portal. They got exposed for tampering to try to get SMU's Kevin Jennings to enter the portal. I think our SMU guy, Billy Embody, who's been on the program before, reported kind of this rumor over the summer. I wasn't aware of it until I saw Dizzy Diz bring it to my attention, Corey, and I looked it up, and that's where it kind of, the genesis of it all. But, I appreciate you looking out, Dizzy Diz. Was not aware that they went to try to make a move, but it does make sense because who knows what Ty Simpson's going to be. But when you got a really good offensive line and really good receivers, I guess, there might be some hubris as a play caller, offensive-minded head coach that you can get this thing figured out. So we'll find out on August 30th. Island Chief, another Alabama question. Wake up. I know the dog days refer to Cyrus rising, but some dogs rising around Tally would be nice. Kane Womack, which, by the way, the last name is spelled Wommack, which most people would want to pronounce Womack.
Yeah.
It's Womack.
But it's Womack?
It's Womack.
Okay.
It is. His dad was the coordinator at Ole Miss when I was there, so we interviewed him a few times. Nice guy. But yeah, it's Womack. Kane Womack, the defensive coordinator at Alabama, is replacing 6 starters who went to the NFL. He's preparing to play a team with 11 new starters on offense and a new coordinator. What film is he watching? What keeps him up at night? In 2014, Bama gave up this is not a correct number. I went and looked it up because I'm like, that can't be right. In 2024, Bama gave up an average of 32. We scored an average of 15. What number are we closer to at the end of the Bama game? Alabama actually averaged, allowed 17.4 points. They were the number 10 scoring defense in the country last year.
Maybe they scored 32 a game?
They scored 33.8. That's crazy.
Okay.
They were the 22nd ranked scoring offense, 10th ranked scoring defense, and still found a way to lose 4 games.
Yeah.
So, but they ran up the score, I guess, on teams like Western Kentucky. They scored 63, 52 on Mercer. That could be Florida State, man. Florida State could look something like that, I think, statistically, Corey. They could maybe have some crazy scoring offense, but they might make their bones on those lesser teams and then perhaps not show up in the bigger games.
If at the end of September, Florida State's not in the top 15, top 20 scoring offense, probably let's give top 20. Okay. There's a big problem.
Okay.
Because you're facing 2 horrible defenses that you should put 50 on both of them. And then let's say you put 50 on the other 2 combined. Well, you're averaging 38 points a game. That should get you in if you're not averaging about 38 to 40 points per game after the first 4 games with those 2 in the middle, oh boy, there might be a problem. So yes, numbers can be misleading in that sense. In the SEC, obviously, Alabama wasn't just putting it on people.
Yeah. So if you're Gus Malzahn's agent, you're touching base with Michael Alford at the end of September is what you're trying to say.
Right, sure. But going back to what film is he watching, he's watching Gus Malzahn film.
Yeah.
That's all. I mean, I'm sure he's watching Castellanos film. But
so
Deuce Robinson's...
Sorry, Corey. He actually played either for Gus in high school or at Arkansas. So they've got not an intimate awareness of one another, but he's familiar with Gus's game. But yeah, I don't know what film is he watching. 2015 film, 2018 film, or is he watching 2024?
I would assume he's watching 24 and 23. He's watching the last 2 years film of Gus's offense, how it's progressed, what's different about it now than it was 15 years ago, and then also Castellanos. I think that's all you can watch. I don't know what his corners, like I'm saying, like if you're a defensive coordinator, you're just trying to get an idea of scheme and sets and what they try to do in down and distance. The Alabama cornerbacks are assuredly watching film of Deuce and Squirrel White. And I guess maybe Boggs' film from high school. I doubt that. And then maybe defensive linemen are watching what Gunnar Hansen did. They're watching old Vanderbilt film, our old UCF film from Medley. You know what I'm saying? But the personnel doesn't really change, I don't think, for the defensive coordinator. As much he wants to concentrate on the quarterback, obviously, and what Tommy does well, and how good he is at moving, and what his favorite plays are, rolling out of the pocket, blah, blah, blah. Maybe he's terrible when he's rolling to his left. So we always want him to get him rolling to his left. Whatever you see in film on Castellanos, you're watching that. Other than that, what is it? Deuce is Deuce, man. Everybody's going to have 2 wideouts. And Gus Malzahn had 2 wideouts last year. They might not have been in the caliber of Deuce and Squirrel, but he had 2 wideouts. So you're trying to get a sense of what plays they're running, what patterns form off this formation or that formation. And I think you can still do that even with 11 new guys.
Yeah. So Womack played for Malzahn at Arkansas. Oddly enough, he was a fullback. And now he's
so he did play for Malzahn.
Yeah, in 2006.
Yeah. When Malzahn was the OC.
Correct. Yeah, first time around.
Right.
First time around.
Yeah.
Mitch Mustaine era. Run DMC, I think Darren McFadden and Felix Jones maybe were around that time.
Yeah. And then that's the team the next year that I think beat LSU in like triple overtime in the final game of the regular season, but LSU still got to play for and win the national title.
Must be nice.
A month later. But yeah, that Arkansas team was the one that lost to that Florida team in the SEC championship game. and then Florida kind of miracled itself to a national title in Urban's whatever that second year.
Yeah.
Tebow's first. How about that? I don't think Arkansas has ever won an SEC championship.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
And neither has either one of the Mississippi schools.
No, I think
Mississippi State has.
They try to say they had like an asterisk next to one, like, or maybe they won the West, I think is what they tried to say, but they didn't make it to the actual championship game. Ole Miss might claim something from like 1967, but
I mean since the championship game started. But that's even crazy. You're saying that, yeah, like since I've been alive, Ole Miss, Mississippi State. I know Arkansas was in the Southwest Conference for a while. They've been in the SEC now for 30 years. Just going in the last 30 years, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Arkansas, Vanderbilt, Kentucky. Who else hasn't? They haven't won SEC championships.
Arkansas, South Carolina.
Tennessee's won a couple, maybe.
Yeah, Arkansas, South Carolina, Mississippi State, Missouri, and Texas have played in the game but failed to win it. So.
Yeah, well, Texas. I mean, they've only been in the league for 1 year, so that's crazy, man. Like again, it's a good conference. It's the best conference, but come on now, Arkansas and the Mississippi schools have done a whole lot of jack squat for our entire lifetimes.
Yeah.
But Malzahn got him the SEC championship. I brought that up because Malzahn, in 1 year, got old Houston Nutt to the SEC championship game. Then they ran him off to Tulsa, where he hired a young Mike Norvell, and the rest is history.
Yeah, the better thing for me to read out would have been, Kentucky, Ole Miss, Vandy. They're the long-standing teams that never played in the SEC championship game. A&M's thrown in there too, but A&M's not been there for all that long.
But A&M's been there. A&M's been there for probably 10 years now.
13? I think like 12 or 13 was their first year, I feel like. Manziel was Manziel was 2012 his first year, I think, right?
Here's a cool stat for all you Florida State fans that always want to be self-hating. A&M, the last time Texas A&M was ranked number 1 in the country was 1957.
Woo.
Not won a national championship because that goes back to pre-World War. That's right around the time Hitler was invading Poland. 1939 was when Texas A&M last won a national championship. But just being ranked number 1, it has been 68 effing years since Texas A&M has been ranked number 1. So again, Florida State's done all right for itself the last 4. You've had a lot of good times. Think about being an Ole Miss fan. Yeah, you might want their head coach now. They might be on TV more and have had better players here in recent years, certainly last year. But by God, they've never won anything. Anything that matters. They've never even won the SEC, and they've been in it since pre-integration. It's crazy. Since the Bear Bryant days. Since Bear Bryant was in Kentucky. Ole Miss has still not won an SEC championship. Just craziness. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
I want to mention this before we talk about our awesome friends over at Corner Pocket Barn Grill. Our guy, Whack169, man, come on. We're going to need some more. You need to take some Mood Plus. Can't keep doing this. He had a twofold question. From listening to the national media, FSU's got no chance to win against Bama. I mean, no one is giving FSU a shot. I mean, as down on things as I am, I still realize the games have to be played. Twofold question. Yeah. When's the last time FSU was looked down upon nationally as bad as they are right now? It is amazing to me that no one is giving FSU any kind of shot and saying the team is going to get run off the field orange idle. Has anybody really said that? Orange Bowl style? I don't think so. That's crazy.
Maybe Alabama fans are thinking that, or SEC fans. But no,
Bama Online is the largest Alabama website on the planet, I think. Yeah, and they're on
the universe,
right? And they're on the On3 network. And I've been on their boards, and I don't know if they've got like a free board that might be a little bit more abrasive, but their fans are really not that boastful about. I mean, they feel good about it, but they're not talking a lot of smack. They haven't really been they haven't been needling us, I guess you could say. But anyways, Has anyone asked any of the players about this, coaches? Do they know that not many people think they cannot win, that they cannot just win, but even keep the game close? I guess if I were a player, I'd play into it and say stuff like, I just hope we have a team that can play other games after the Alabama game.
Yeah, I think those questions will start coming as we get closer to Alabama. Right now, it's kind of more about Florida State-centric questions because the game still seems so far away, and is. Once we get closer to game week, probably starting in the middle of next week, we will start asking like straight-up Alabama questions because they've actually started game prep for Alabama. And then I think it's fair to ask questions about that scenario and being the underdog and not many people giving Florida State a chance. But they're not a 30-point underdog. They're I don't know, 11,
13
12,
and a half
13.
now, yeah.
That's crazy. That seems like a big number to me, Aslan.
It does.
Just throwing that out there. Maybe I'll wait till it gets to 14, and then I'll. Well, no, I don't gamble. What am I talking about? I don't gamble.
Especially not on the Noles. Especially not on the Noles.
No, yeah, exactly right. Yeah, I really don't.
So what would the line be if the quarterbacks were changed?
Yeah, you asked that. If Ty Simpson was here, the great Ty Simpson, I would think it'd be another. Yeah, I think it'd be another 3 or 4 points.
Yeah.
But,
come on, Tommy! One time,
Tommy, you can do it. You can do it. You played. I tell you what, the 2023 Florida State team is better than this 2025 Alabama team, and Castellanos was the best player on the field that game. So you can do it, Tommy. You can do it. Am I right, Aslan?
Absolutely.
But as far as the underdog scenario, no, there has never been a time in my lifetime when Florida State has been this, I don't know, so poorly thought of. But I mean, that comes with the territory. You know, we all watched last year, so there's no reason to be for the national media and for Alabama fans or Alabama media or ACC media to be, gung ho about the Florida State football team in 2025. You could prove that all wrong in 3.5 hours on August 30th. Like that, it's all out there to be played. It's all out there to be proven. This team has nothing to do with last year's team, especially the offense. Like literally the offense. Like I think you can worry about like here we go again-ism coming out if you get down 10-0 to Alabama for your team. Certainly it would happen for the fan base. But for the team itself, like, oh, God, are we going to suck again? Is this just more of the same? That should not at all be the case on the offensive side of the ball. You legitimately have a brand-new starting 11 to go along with a brand-new offensive coordinator. So, I think that but again, so last year doesn't really lend itself much to this year as far as how I think the season will play out. And also, but the national media doesn't care. You went 2-10. You are what your record is. You are what your record was. You have to go prove that you're going to be worlds better than that. Right now, they have no reason to believe that.
Yeah. Your menu is what you say it is, or you are what your menu says you are. And the menu at Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is filled with delicious food like the Corey Wrap, the best wings in town, and much, much more. Ice cold beverages, adult variety, seltzers as well, everybody. Draft, bottle, whatever you prefer. It's all over at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. 40 televisions. Trivia last night. You missed out, everybody. Thursday, bingo night, 4 rounds, $250 cash money up for grabs in each round.
The great Tom Lang played trivia with us
nice.
on Tuesday night.
Cool. That would have been cool if somebody asked me if I wanted to play trivia with my co-host on the podcast.
Hey, in all transparency, we're recording this before trivia. Aslan, would you like to come play on our team?
It's fine. It's fine.
Okay, well, there you go. Perfect.
40 televisions. Happy hour from 4 to 7 p.m. weekdays, and then all day Sunday. It's all at one place. Right there off Appalachia Parkway. It's called the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway, cptallybar.com, the website. We are back. It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. A few things I should have mentioned at the top of the show. Live show coming at you tonight, everybody, 6 p.m. You cool with that, Corey? I probably should have got your okay before I just said
Let's
that.
Do it. Let's do it.
All right. And shout out to our guy, JMNT43, although his so, my name says Aslan Hajavani, then my my tag or whatever on YouTube, on Twitter is Aslan Hodge. This guy is JMNT43, but then his @ is JTATL23. I don't know why I said that out loud, but I'm sorry. Anyways, he let us know, Corey, that the phrase everyone on the bus, good to great, is a concept from Jim Collins' book, Good to Great. It emphasizes the importance of hiring the right people and placing them in correct roles before deciding on the company's direction or strategy. So that's, I guess, a Tony White comment, right? Get on everybody on the bus, everyone on the bus.
We want everyone on the bus, yeah. I thought it was more literal than that because they actually take buses to the stadium and then get off those buses and go play the game.
Yeah, who knows?
You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's why I was taking it more literal, but I apologize. I have not read that book.
We got 2 questions that are 2-parters.
It's cool that it works both ways.
Yeah, absolutely.
It works literal and it works as like paying homage to a self-help, not a self-help book. I don't know what you call a book that's not self-help, a company help book.
Yeah, there we go. All right, two questions are both two-parters. Random _ John and our guy DRaz40. Good morning, guys. I read Corey's article on Tony White's press conference. I got to ask, if the defense keeps getting called out like this in camp, are we looking at a wake-up call or a red flag?
That's a fair question.
I'm fine, man. Again, if this offense was not doing anything of great significance, if we were not hearing about big plays being made, I would be much more down, much more concerned. I'll take my chances, I guess, with an offense that's ahead of the defense at this point of the game. Regarding the offense, we've heard about the starting 11, the offensive line gelling, Boggs breaking through. But what about tempo? Is Malzahn looking to push the pace this year, or will the offense lean more on ball control to protect the defense? No, David Johnson said. David Johnson. We asked him, what's the, because he mentioned something about, which I liked. Right, he said we can't play everybody. Pretty much in as many words. They can't play all the running backs, right?
Well, he's definitely not playing 5 or 6.
Yes.
He's like, that's not realistic. It's going to be more like 2 to 3.
Yeah,
running backs.
Then I asked him on a follow-up, why are you guys better positioned if you only play 3? And he said because of the tempo. So you don't want to be making substitution changes like that. So I think that says that, yes, tempo is still clearly a big part of what Gus needs to get his mojo going.
Yeah, no, tempo is going to be a big factor. I know last year I think they only averaged maybe 5 or 6 more plays per game than Norvell's offense. That could be wrong. I just feel like I assumed Florida State's offense. Maybe the pace, but Florida State had to run one of the lowest number of plays in the country because they never could get first downs and they always had to punt. So I can't imagine how close they were. But yeah, that's Malzahn's thing, man. So. I get what you're saying about if you have a bad defense, maybe slow it down a little bit, shorten the game. But this is what they do, and this is what he was brought here to do. And the effectiveness of the offense sometimes does hinge on how fast it goes. Like, player for player against some of the teams on this schedule, you might not be able to move them out of the way. And your running game might be a lot of 2nd and 9s and 3rd and 8s. But if those other guys are tired, and your, let's say, above average to average offensive line is in better shape and going faster and used to it to a superior defensive line that gets tired and can't sub, well, then you're looking at 2nd and 2. And you're looking at a 13-yard run instead of a 4-yard run because they're either not set up or they're exhausted. That's part of the deal of this offense. That's what excites you about it because they will go fast and it's hard to prepare for. So I absolutely think that's something they're going to be doing.
You want me to blow your mind with a weird stat? Florida State, 97th in the nation last year, 65.6 plays per game. They averaged 65.5 plays per game in 2023.
Yeah, that seems about right. They're slow. They're slow. I don't know why Norvell is this slow. I don't know if he was that slow at Memphis. I don't know if you can look up 2019 Memphis, where they ranked, but yeah, he slowed it down. I thought considerably compared to what that tempo was at Memphis.
47th,
but also I will
47th Memphis in 2019.
That's weird.
72.9 plays. It's like 7 more plays
weird.
about. Yeah.
Well, it's not even because there were some rule changes with the clocks and everything, so it's not even the number of plays; it's the rank in the country to me because everybody's playing by the same.
Right.
So the 7 plays difference doesn't matter to me as much as the 45 drop in where you rank in the country. But I will say this, one thing that kind of always bothers me about all these coaches, always, and it's because the way I view the sport, and I'm always a glass half empty. I'm a worrywart when you have a lead because of my fandom growing up with the Braves and watching Florida State teams over the years. Quit snapping the ball with 19 seconds left when you have a 2-score lead in the 4th quarter. Don't do that. At that point, the clock is as much an ally as getting another extra 4 yards because they're tired. You've got to milk the clock. And I hope I'm complaining about it against Alabama, folks.
Amen.
I hope I'm tweeting, what in the world is Gus and what are they doing right now? They're up 31-21 with 8 minutes left. Run the clock. Quit snapping it with 25 on the play clock. So I hope there's a fine line there and there's some gray area where they can work. But I think absolutely they will, no matter how bad or good the defense is, Malzahn kind of only knows one speed. And I think that's what he was hired for. Now, Norvell could tell him to slow it down, but I think more often than not, they're just going to be going as fast as they can go. That's what they've been training for since January.
Other two-parter, DRAS40, how much of the offense success, particularly at quarterback, and that reported maturity is due to their own sharp execution versus simply exploiting a defense that is clearly still struggling with fundamentals like tackling and assignments? Beyond frustration, generally speaking, what specific area do you think is drawing the most ire from Tony White? Is it the missed tackles in space, blown coverages, or lack of pressure from the front?
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily any of those. Maybe blown coverages. Like it doesn't. He does not like, as he said on Mondays. Like when they're not doing what they're taught to do, that's a problem, and he has a real problem with it. I think it's more about what he talked about after the first scrimmage, which he didn't go into as much detail, but he's talking about running around blocks, kind of ducking your head out of the way, not taking on contact as much as you should be taking on contact. Maybe not playing as violently and as hard as you need to be because you know it's August and it's not August. It's August 5th and not August 30th or whatever. And he's trying to instill a standard where they play the same way all the time. Because, yeah, of course they're going to play hard against Alabama. But if you haven't trained to play hard, you're going to be done after 2 plays. You've got to train your body to play 100% all the time. I know this, Aslan. I'm an incredible athlete.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not just speaking out of turn here, folks, out of school, out of pocket. I grew up, I was the JV, I won the JV hitting award at Meadow Creek. And again, I'm not trying to brag, but it's the truth. Yeah, and I took every rep in BP, Aslan, just like it was a JV game in Gwinnett County in the early 90s.
My man.
And that's why I did it. That's why I lifted all them weights. So yeah, I think that I don't think it's necessarily like pressure on the quarterback. I think it's more about the physicality and the violence and the urgency that he wants them to play with because they're not opening up with Kent State, man. If you play soft against Alabama, you will be embarrassed. They have a very good offensive line, and I'm going to go ahead and guess their running backs are pretty good too. It's Alabama. So if you're going to play soft and if you're not going to tackle, and maybe that goes back to the tackling, but I don't think it's necessarily the fundamentals of tackling. It's the will to tackle. And that's why he constantly brings up the Desir twins, whether they're going to play against Alabama or not. He loves how violent and how hard they play. In the same way, Arnaud, bringing up him in that play he made, getting off a block and then wrecking a ball carrier and sending them backwards. That's the stuff he wants to see from his older guys that maybe he's not seeing at the consistent pace that he'd like.
Yeah, and I think the success of the offense, I think it's more because they have an effective play caller with a system that's being embraced and that quarterback that's probably a really pain in the neck to have to cover, especially like in a scrimmage situation too, right? Because I don't know, he's not live, but maybe they give him a little bit of a longer whistle, maybe not as long of a whistle, but I'm gonna celebrate the offense right now. I'm not gonna say this is because the defense isn't good enough. But that I get it. That's the sum of all fears is that we're sitting here in, a month and a half and the offense doesn't look great. And it's because they were beating up on a defense that wasn't physical enough, that didn't understand their assignments. I don't think that's going to be the case, but I understand the trepidation out there. I think right now the success that we're hearing about offensively is because the offense is clicking because they have all their 11 guys out there.
Yeah, but it's probably, as you know, it's probably a combination of both. It's a little, you just don't know what degree. Is it 80% the offense is good and 20% the defense has been struggling, or is it 51-49? Yeah. What the cause is. As Aslan has said since we started talking about this season, and I'm with him, I'm all about hearing good things about the offense right now. The defense, I think, with Tony White will figure things out and be competent. I don't know that it's going to be great, but it'll be competent. The offense had to make such great strides in such a short order, and you just win. You win more. The teams that score a lot of points win the most games. That's how it works, man. Good defenses help too, but you can't be as bad as they were on offense and expect to compete. So if they have a good ACC offense, they're going to win more games than they lose. If you have a good ACC defense, we've seen this a lot. You have a good ACC defense but a horrible offense, you're going to lose most of your games. So, just you hope that the defense can come around. Again, I know the Alabama game is important. We all want them to win. It would be awesome for the program. It'd be awesome for us. It'd be awesome for the city. they need to get to that Miami game with 3 wins at least. If they get to that Miami game at 3-1,
or 1-0 in conference play, right?
With 1-0 in conference play, that Virginia game is the one, man. That Virginia game is the one I'm dialed into to see what this thing looks like. And then I think obviously the Miami game. If you win that game like you should, then you've won 3 in a row. That Miami game is an enormous game, and it is absolutely winnable if you're healthy.
Oh yeah.
So hopefully it happens.
Another defense question. D_Nole. Hey, wake up. I think the defensive problems start and end with the defensive line. They are the foundational unit on defense. If they are not playing well, the running game gets bigger holes and or contain on the edges is lost. If they don't generate pass rush, even good cornerbacks and safeties will get exposed. I love hearing accountability when Tony speaks, and what that means to me is that we may see more of the Twins and win than we would have assumed early. In this case, we will be counting on effort more than execution at first. The defense may not gel until the first few games. Do you agree with this assessment?
I absolutely agree with the defensive line being the most important part, and that's why I have such trepidation about this defense right now, is because I don't believe in this defensive line, and frankly, I don't really believe in this front seven. Not that it can't be good, but it has not been proven to be good, and it is a bunch of new guys working together in a brand-new scheme, playing Alabama to start the season. It helps that they have an inexperienced quarterback, but it's Alabama. They have one of the best offensive lines in the country, maybe the best offensive line in the country if you go by just the NFL draft stocks. So it's a bear. It's a tough one to prepare for. It's a tough one out of the gate. So I don't expect them to overwhelm Alabama. I don't expect them to play well because it's just a lot to ask. It's a brand new scheme with players that I think are maybe good, but we don't know. We don't know what James Williams is going to be. We don't know if Jane Jones. We don't know anything other than Darrell Jackson, when he plays well, is really hard to block. That's the only thing we know about Florida State's defensive line, right?
Yes.
There's nothing else on the defensive line that you know for sure. Daniel Lyons' name hasn't been mentioned once, as far as I remember.
I don't. Yeah, you're right.
So the kid coming off 2 knee surgeries and the kid that tore his Achilles in January have been mentioned more than Daniel Lyons, a lot more. So that's not necessarily a good sign. Diggs has not been mentioned much. I haven't even heard McCray mentioned that much, except when they're asked specifically about these people. So hopefully those guys can gel and mold and become a serviceable to good defensive line. If they do, you got a fighting chance against Alabama, and you have a good chance to have a good season. But yeah, if they don't, these linebackers have never played together. There's going to be some growing pains, and they might not be great to start the season. And it is a worry. I think somebody asked on headlines, like, what position group worries you the most? Or maybe if they don't live up to the hype or live up to expectations would be the biggest problem for the team. And I think it's defensive line, without a doubt. I think there is a chance that – because I don't like the depth. And if a couple of guys go down, I just don't know if they have the depth to handle that. They probably don't on the offensive line either, but I trust that Malzahn can make something happen with even some injuries. The defensive line, man, if you start losing some guys for extended periods of time, I don't know if they have the horses to be good up there. I don't know. I'm not convinced of it. So that's my biggest worry by far on this team going into the season is defensive line.
They've got the number 1 defensive tackle off the board and a guy that if he does his job right is going to be done after one season in Tallahassee.
The one and done, yeah. And Kevin Wynn is they love him. Yeah. And the Desir twins, maybe the best twins to ever play college football. I'm racking my brain trying to think of. Can you think of any other set of twins? The Selmans back in the 70s, playing in Oklahoma, and then I wonder. So Leroy Selman Leroy Selman, I think, is an NFL Hall of Famer. Played with the Bucks. Played at Oklahoma with his brother, who I cannot remember his name right now. But they were both really good players at Oklahoma. I think they both played in the NFL. But Leroy was better. Leroy was the Hall of Famer. I wonder if when they got to Oklahoma, Barry Switzer just called them the Selman twins for their whole careers, or if eventually they differentiated. It's like, look, Leroy's really good. The other Selman's pretty good, but Leroy's really good. Like Mandrell and Darrell at some point have to be like, call me by my name. I'm Mandrell Desir. Quit saying the Desir twins.
Lucius.
What?
Lucius Selman. Leroy Selman's brother.
Was Leroy's brother?
Yeah.
Did they both play at Oklahoma?
Correct.
Okay, all right. And were they twins or just brothers?
Just brothers, I think.
Oh.
Maybe.
Yeah, so I don't know about twins. I don't know if there's been any twins in college football that have been like – I'm sure there's people screaming at us right now. There's probably 2 or 3 that we're just not even – the twins that we're not thinking about, but I can't think of any off the top of my head. So the Desir twins might be pioneers.
Could be. I'm trying to get to the yeah, he's a younger brother of Leroy Selman. There was Dewey Selman. I don't know if Dewey Selman.
Maybe Dewey is the twin of Leroy.
Born in
I threw you down a rabbit hole.
November 19th, 1953. And yeah, no, Leroy Selman was born 1954. So yeah, no twins.
Okay.
No
All right,
twins.
okay.
Quick internet search doesn't really give us anything great either. Believe it or not. Not a lot of great twins.
So are the
in
Desir
college
twins
football.
kind of making they might be on the verge of making history.
Take it.
Oh,
Take it.
the Barbers. Thought of one.
Oh, yes!
Thought of one. Has anybody heard of Rondé or Tiki Barber?
AI's going to take over the world and that didn't pop up?
That's
Like,
crazy.
what?
I knew there was somebody I was thinking. So, yes,
man.
one of them's a Hall of Famer. The other was an All-Pro. That's a high bar to clear. They've got to be the best twins in football history. But maybe the Desirs are number 2.
Let's see here. There's 8 of football's most. Oh, come on. Don't give me
That's
soccer.
Yeah. That's fine. Move on. Next
all right.
question.
Another defensive question. Noel Dad 4L. Still always wonder, is it 4 life or maybe he's a 4L guy or he'd be done with by law school? I don't think you're a 4L. I think it's 3L and then you're done. I don't know. Anyhow, wake up, guys. Who do we think will get the helmet with the green dot on defense this year?
I would say I think Herring. But that's my indication. Not my indication. Nobody told me that, but I think Elijah Herring will be the guy that wears the green dot. Maybe Thompson.
Yeah,
because of his familiarity with the defense. But I don't know that he's as guaranteed a starter or to be on the field as much as Herring. But I could be wrong. That's just speculation.
Ah, yes, the dog days of summer are here. For a lot of folks, that means sending the kids off to college. For a lot of you, it means you're going to be going off to college. Ask for a gift on your way out. Ask for security. Ask for style. Mom and Dad, help your kid out going to college. They're going to lose their wallet probably because they're probably going to get a little tipsy one night. And by little, I mean a lot tipsy. And they're going to lose their wallet. When's the last time you guys lost your wallets? Never, right? But I lost my wallet all the time in college. I wish I had Ridge and their great wallets that now have AirTag compatibility. So get your Apple AirTag, slips right into your money clip on your Ridge wallet. You lose your wallet, quote unquote. You didn't really lose it. You're going to know where it's at because you can track it with the AirTag. Ridge gives you the goods. And they also give you the peace of mind of a lifetime warranty, free shipping, 99-day risk-free trial. Give it a try. Treat yourself. Also treat that young man or woman in your life that's going and seeking out higher education. Use the promo code WAKEUP over at ridge.com to save on your order. Again, the promo code WAKEUP over at ridge.com. We're back. It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. Big Steve-O, 22. Good morning, gentlemen. Glad to continue.
The Pouncey twins. The Pouncey twins are another one.
Okay.
And the McCourtys, apparently. And Shaquille and Shaquem Griffin, who played at UCF.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Corey's internet working better than my internet, clearly.
Yep. I know the things to type in.
What did you type in, SEO expert?
I typed in twins NFL players.
Okay.
And that came back. Right. But weirdly, the Barbers didn't come up. It's crazy. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Glad to continue to hear that you guys are both doing well. Thank you as always for the amazing content to get through the dog days of summer. We are almost there. Thank you, Steve-O.
Amen.
The other night I came across the highlight reel from the Choke It Doke, which is always amazing to watch. This got me thinking every top program will always talk about the standard, which usually means winning a championship. To me, that's a goal for the season, not a standard. In your opinion and history of FSU, our standard can be defined as ... Once again, thank you for everything you all do. Go Noles.
So what's the context with the choke it doke?
He was watching the
just
highlight
watching
reel.
it.
Yeah.
It started. It rehashed some old memories and thoughts. So the standard the standard at Florida State should be to compete for championships. Define that however you want.
That's a goal, though. That's a goal. I think maybe identity might be the better word, but I don't want to put words in his mouth. So I'm sorry.
But
continue.
I mean, you should never, as long as you're in this conference, the standard should be Charlotte. Now, that again, you're right. That's more of a result and not a process. As little Jimbo E's there. It's more result-oriented standard than process-oriented standard. But yeah, that's my goal. You're at Florida State. You have more resources than anybody in the conference. You recruit from a better state, and you have more history and tradition. There's no excuse for the standard not to be to expect to be competing for a championship, national, ACC, state, whatever.
Yeah.
You need to be competing and winning championships. I don't know about a win total. It's hard to know anymore with the playoffs and deep runs and all that. But yeah, I think the standard. It's impossible to say it should be the dynasty. Like, that's not going to happen. That's not realistic anymore. That was an incredible run that we'll never see again. But it should be that you always feel going into a season that you're competing for a championship, and that you always feel going into November that you have a chance still. That's my definition, but I don't know if that's what he was looking for.
I'll go with identity. I think growing up, Florida State had a relentless defense that was suffocating coverage-wise and just, relentless, tackling you, physical. The Danny Werfel, the 96 echo to the whistle game, like that to me, that was the identity of Florida State football defensively. And then I think on offense, you were just fearless, like fearless, high-flying offense. Like that was the standard. We're not going to play conservative. We're not going to play scared. We're going to play really assertive, and maybe that manifests itself in this day and age with going for it on fourth down all the damn time. You know, if Bobby Bowden was 45 years old right now, who knows how many times he'd ever have his punter trot out there. But I think for me, the dynasty, which was the standard for so long around here, was defined by like a fearless, high-flying offense and a relentless, just, all-encompassing defense on all levels, just so sound. Fundamentally.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's more of an identity and a personality than a standard. Because you can't just say we want to be a high-flying offense. That's the standard. You want to score points and win games. I think just for a standard, I think it's more results-oriented. But, yeah, you're right. All that's true, too. I remember arguing with Jeff back when Muschamp was – maybe it was Muschamp. Yeah, the 2012 season when Florida was winning a bunch of games like 19-13. And completing 11 passes in a game or something. And I'm like, I don't think Florida fans like this. And he's like, they like winning. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, man, but these fans grew up with the fun and gun. And Spurrier thrown all over the lot. Those were fun teams to watch. This is a grind to watch this team. And I do think that matters sometimes. I think, I think the personality of a program matters. And, that was fool's gold. He ended up getting fired the next year. Maybe 2 years later. I don't remember with Muschamp, but I know the 13 team was not very good at all. And but yeah, I think that the Florida State should always be like a daring. That's the identity that Bowden forged, was daring on offense, Mickey on defense, and willing to play anybody anywhere. That's how this program made its bones.
We're not going to get to all the questions today, so we'll probably put these in Friday's program because we'll do a live show later tonight, which will be your Thursday program. And I don't know, maybe if we hit a lull.
We could include some of them on the live show, right?
Well, if we have a lull, but I feel like I got faith in everybody. I think they're going to come out the gates hot. Lots of questions right from the jump. But in case, that might be the opening act, if you will. Right. Although we value people at warchant.com more than people on YouTube. Just saying it. Sorry. Love you all, though, but maybe different levels. Like, does Archie really love Cooper as much as he loves Peyton? I don't think so. I mean, let's be honest.
Oh, okay. There you go. Maybe, because he gave him a grandson that's going to be an NFL player, too. So
what a
maybe
life.
That love's come.
What
maybe that
life.
love's come circling back.
Our guy down in Naples, Mark, M. Adam CZ. Wake up. Love the fiery comments from Tony White. A refreshing change around here. Breaking it down, however, what specific position groups or component of the defense do you think? Well, we already kind of answered that. Sorry. Mark, his offensive question. If I'm Bama, with their offensive line playing FSU on the road in week 1 with a new quarterback, I am going to run the ball and do it a lot until FSU can stop it. What are your thoughts?
100%. That will be their game plan. I would assume it's their game plan for most of the year. And they do have the ability to take a shot because they got receivers, one in particular who's really good. So, but when you have an inexperienced quarterback, I know he's older, he's 22, but he's inexperienced. And you have an offensive line like that, and you're playing a defense that hasn't proven anything yet and plays a 3-3-5, you're going to run the ball. And you're going to try to set up play action and take shots that way. You want to limit the decision-making your quarterback has to do, where you're throwing it 50 times a game, and it's a lot of second, third, fourth reads. You want to give him like 1 and 2 read plays. Like you're gonna play. It's a hard play action. You're gonna boot, and you're gonna throw it to Ryan Williams. That's your job. And if Ryan Williams is triple covered, there might be a tight end coming across the middle, try to throw it to him or throw it out of bounds. Like, I think there's going to be a lot of that. They are not going to try, unless they have to. I don't expect them. But again, Ty Simpson's next Joe Namath. I don't know. But I don't expect them to put the ball in the game in the hands of Ty Simpson that much. I think they want him to just throw when they want to throw. They don't want to be forced to throw.
No. Let's end it on this one. We'll kind of bookmark it or bookend the show with our specialty. That's recruiting talk.
Oh, perfect.
Corn Tater. Wake up, gentlemen. Another season is upon us. Our conference counterpart, the Clemson Tigers, opted against the portal, and after taking a hit from the media from their initial exclusion, now have a loaded, in quotes he put, team going into the 25 season. This includes several preseason All-American selections and even what some would consider the Heisman frontrunner in their quarterback, whom we all remember switched the final play that lost them a game they controlled against FSU in 2023. That game, I don't know why I don't remember anything about it other than the Kalen DeLoach play. But, I forgot it went to overtime. They didn't score. Florida State scored on their first possession. It was just wham, bam, and it was over. And I forgot how everything went before that. But anyhow. The question, sorry, that was me, not Corn Tater. The question, obviously the recruiting circumstances for Mike have been all over the spectrum. COVID, playoff snub, 2-10. But with the facility and stadium upgrades, new staff, $10 million salary, do you think FSU under this staff can ever recruit with the top teams? Or are we just a portal harvester destined for cultivating a new nucleus year after year?
A portal harvester, I like that.
So do I.
Look, he has not proven that he can recruit with Dabo at all yet. But I think, what if this team goes into November with eight wins, and Kevin Wynn, the Desir twins, the guys we mentioned at the beginning of the show, Cromall and Boggs especially, specifically, they're playing well. Amari Williams or Landon Thomas are playing well. They've turned into big names, or bigger names around the country. That to me is a big deal, right? Like there is no proof so far with the Mike Norvell football team at Florida State that if you sign with Mike Norvell at a high school, that you're going to be worth a damn and that he's going to develop you into something really good. There just isn't. So, it can be hard to recruit like that, especially when you look at Clemson and you're like, well, Dabo's got some guys in the league that came through the system, that came up the ranks. Norvell, I'll go play at Florida State after 2 years somewhere else. That's his calling card right now. But it can flip, man. It can flip quickly. These guys, if they pan out and look to be legitimate big time players, then maybe we're talking about 2 years from now that Norvell's built his program from within and is only sprinkling in portal guys. There's a possibility, right?
Yeah, for sure. I don't have much other to add to that. That was it. That was good stuff, Corey. Thank you for handling recruiting. Recruiting with Corey Clark, everybody. Check out Matt Lasser and Michael Langston. They're talking a lot of recruiting over at warchant.com, the ultimate Seminole sports source. We're done. Live show, though, 6 o'clock. You have something on the mind, Corey?
I did want to say, just real quick about Clemson. Clemson looks like they have a loaded team. They're going to have some guys in the NFL. The quarterback looks good. They have receivers that can play. He has done a very good job of high school recruiting. That does not mean that the criticism isn't still warranted, because I think he's costing his program a chance at national championships by not going and getting 2 or 3 elite dudes at positions of need. Like, they did lose 4 times last year, right? 3 or 4?
4.
The year before they lost 3 or 4. That's not – look, I know I'm covering a team that went 2-10. So I'm not, saying what a disaster, what an embarrassment. I'm saying Clemson of 4 years ago, they lost like 4 games in 4 years total, and then they go to where they're losing 3 or 4 games a year. I think that could be rectified really quickly if he wouldn't be so stubborn about the portal. And because it was Clemson and Alabama, where there was the 2 best programs in the country. Nobody mentions Clemson as the best program in the country anymore. And I think if he'd have just gone and gotten a couple of portal kids these last 3 years, I don't know, man, they might have had a national title. Last year they might have had, I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, but yes, he recruits the high school ranks just about as well as anyone, and gosh darn it seems like every year they got 2 or 3 dudes on the defensive line that are just ridiculously good, and it never stops, ever stops. So anyway, but thankfully he's not going to the portal. That's good news for Florida State fans.
Well, he did add an edge rusher from Purdue, Will Helt. Also,
that
picked
guy's
up,
overrated. Sucks.
Yeah, all right. I got nothing. I got no pushback. You win. You win.
Did he really got a guy from Purdue? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he was like one of the better defensive ends that was in the portal. So he got him. He got a receiver from Southeastern Missouri State who put up really big numbers, 6'5", 205-pound Tristan Smith from LaGrange, Georgia, and also a edge from Alabama. So
well, maybe this is the year they win the title because he went and got those 3 big pieces.
Hopefully not. Hopefully it's the Noles. All right, we're done. Live show 6 o'clock. In the meantime, Jeff Cameron show 1 to 4 o'clock. 3 hours. Sports talk. A lot of Noles. Mostly Noles.
Hey, real quick before we go.
Yes, sir.
I guess I should say this. This might have been something we could have led with, but I don't know if it's that big a deal. But apparently Conrad Hussey is no longer a part of the Florida State football program.
Oh.
As Warchant broke on Tuesday evening.
Oh.
So by the time you're hearing this, it's 12-hour-old news, so that's why I'm telling you guys this. But yeah, Conrad Hussey.
Y'all start apologizing to Shaheem Brown then. Because everybody kept saying, I bet Shaheem Brown's who Tony White's talking about. Feel like it was probably Conrad Hussey.
Yeah, maybe so.
Maybe
so. Who knows?
People just want to beat up on Shaheem bad, man.
Well, Mike, Shaheem, I would like to hear your name mentioned, Shy.
Yeah,
I really would. You are a fourth-year senior. You're a senior that's played a lot of football. I want to hear how you're controlling the defense, and you've been an impact player. Hear Earl Little's name all the time. The Desir twins might as well have statues. I don't hear Shaheem's name at all. I need to, especially now that Hussey's gone. Come on, Shaheem, it's your time to shine.
Oh my God, I want to vomit. I had him 28th on my top 40.
Hussey?
Yeah.
Well, that's all. You didn't have him 4th. You're all right. You can live with that. Once you get into the 20s, you're throwing darts, buddy.
I was gonna take a victory lap and be like, I didn't even have him on my ballot. He was on 3 ballots. I was one of them.
Was I one?
I'm sorry. He was actually on 2 of them. He was on 2 ballots, and he actually was ranked 39th on the composite. You were not the other person.
Sweet. That's all I needed to hear. Guys,
don't pay attention to anything I said in the last hour and 10 minutes. Everything Corey said.
That's all Clark.
Is gospel. All right, we're done. Live show 6 o'clock. Jeff Cameron show 1 to 4 o'clock. We got Mike Laird today. We'll ask him about special teams, Jimbo 11, and everybody else that cares about special teams, and it's an important thing. That'll be over at warchant.com. Live transcription going down. Corey gets all the subscribers up to date. They don't have to listen to a 15-minute video. They just go right to the website. You do that too. Subscribe, hit the thumbs up. We would appreciate it. He's Corey. I'm Aslan. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com.